I decided to call this conference in order to clarify some of the issues connected with this letter. This letter was written, of course, on the 27th of February 2025 by His Excellency Dr. Riek Machar, the first Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan and the Chairman of the SPLM-AIO. This letter was written to His Excellency the President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, and the subject was a request for a meeting to discuss the security situation in Upper Nile State, Western Equatoria State, and Western Bahr al-Ghazal states. Our main problem is that it's not the request, but the way things have been done. Yesterday, when the letter was taken to the office of the president had already gone home. So the minister in the office of the president decided to keep it for this morning so that it is presented to him and then he will act on it and give the necessary directives. Instead, the letter appeared last night in the social media before it could even reach the person to whom it was addressed. This is the irregularity which we are trying to address. And the issues which have been also raised in that letter are issues which have nothing to do with the people who have been copied. If you read through, you find that it is copied to so many people, about 16 people who are copied. And none of them is a South Sudanese, but these are people of the region and the regional organizations. The objective of this press conference is this letter. Of course, you have seen the letter was written on the 27th, yesterday. After being written yesterday, it was delivered to the office of the president at 4:30 p.m. And you saw it in the social media at about 5 or 6 in the evening. Those of you who did not get it, you should have got it, because it is in the social media. So I did not bother myself to publish it for you again, but here it is available wherever it is.
Welcome back to Celebs Watch 211. On February 28, 2025, Honorable Michael Makuelwe, the South Sudan's Minister for Communication, Information Technology and Postal Services, held a press conference regarding a letter written by the first Vice President of South Sudan, that is Dr. Riek Machar, to President Salva Kiir Mayardit on February 27, 2025, but the letter apparently circulated online before even reaching the President, who is the intended recipient. For those who may have not come across the letter, this is what it entails in part. So as you can see at the top, it's originated at the Republic of South Sudan from the first Vice President, and it's dated February 27, 2025, addressed to His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan. And the subject indicates request for a meeting to discuss the security situation in Upper Nile State, Western Equatoria State, and Western Bahr al-Ghazal State. The letter reads in part, and I quote, "I am writing to request again for an audience with Your Excellency to discuss the deteriorating security situation in Upper Nile State and Western Equatoria State in particular. On 20th of February 2025, I wrote to Your Excellency to discuss the replacement of SSPDF in Nasir town, which has become a flashpoint lately. The recent violations in these states are serious that I am prompted to raise these issues to the guarantors so that they could intervene and suggest amicable solutions to break the deadlock. In light of the above, I am writing to Your Excellency and the guarantors to report the systematic violations of the revitalized Agreement on the Resolution of the Conflict in the Republic of South Sudan, RARCSS, as these latest violations are threatening to reverse the milestone we have achieved in the implementation of the agreement and may lead to the breakdown of security arrangements and collapse of the agreement as follows. In the following sections of the letter discusses specific security incidences that happened in the three states that were mentioned, that is the Western Equatoria State, Western Bahr el Ghazal State, and Upper Nile State. You can pause the video at this point and read the letter if you wish to. Otherwise, you can find this letter all over the social media, especially on Facebook and I believe on Twitter.
I decided to call this conference in order to clarify some of the issues connected with this letter. This letter was written, of course, on the 27th of February 2025 by His Excellency Dr. Riek Machar, the first Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan and the Chairman of the SPLM-AIO. This letter was written to His Excellency the President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, and the subject was a request for a meeting to discuss the security situation in Upper Nile State, Western Equatoria State, and Western Bahr el Ghazal State. Our main problem is that it's not the request, but the way things have been done. Yesterday, when the letter was taken to the office of the president had already gone home. So the minister in the office of the president decided to keep it for this morning so that it is presented to him and then he will act on it and give the necessary directives. Instead, the letter appeared last night in the social media before it could even reach the person to whom it was addressed. This is the irregularity which we are trying to address. And the issues which have been also raised in that letter are issues which have nothing to do with the people who have been copied. If you read through, you find that it is copied to so many people, about 16 people who are copied. And none of them is a member, is a South Sudanese, but these are people of the region and the regional organizations.
During the speech, Honorable Michael Makwelwe voiced his disappointment with Dr. Riek Machar and called him out for the unprocedural approach of sending copies of the letter to people who are not key stakeholders of South Sudan, and also for allowing the letter to circulate on the social media streets even before reaching the intended recipient's desk, that is the President's office. As you can see on your screen, some of the people who were CC'd in the letter are none other than President Ismail Omar of Djibouti, President William Ruto of Kenya, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, that is Abiy Ahmed, as well as Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, who's the current president of the Federal Republic of Somalia, among others.
So this is the main problem. Ladies and gentlemen, the objective of this press conference is to clarify the public and media houses the unfortunate unprocedural trend taken by the above quoted letter. The letter was written on the 27th February and delivered to the office of the President at 4:30 p.m. at the time when His Excellency had already gone home, so it was to be brought to his attention this morning. On the 27th February, the same evening, the above quoted letter appeared in the social media at a time when it had not yet reached the addressee, His Excellency President, and above all, what is this abnormality that justified publication in the social media against the ordinary established norms, correspondences, and requests for audience or meetings. Under the normal circumstances, when you request a meeting, you don't publish your request. And this is not the first time that requests have been presented. So what is particular about this request being presented at this time and tabled and sent to the social media? This is the issue. In that letter, there are so many things that have been raised. And the letter says, to quote, "I'm prompted to raise these issues to the guarantors so that they could intervene and suggest amicable solutions to break the deadlock in question." So the question is, where did the parties reach the deadlock, which is mentioned here? Meanwhile, they did not first sit and then disagreed. It is after disagreement that you can talk of a deadlock. So it is after the deadlock that you can now talk of seeking solutions from the guarantors. The letter was addressed to the president, was not addressed to the guarantors, and he is seeking intervention of the guarantors. And the issues which have been raised here have nothing to do with the guarantors, because the guarantors do come in after having reached a deadlock. But these people never sat down so that they reach a dialogue which will justify the intervention of the guarantors. The issues raised are very clear. The issues of Western Equatoria, Northern Western Bahar Ghazal, and Upper Nile State. You know very well what is happening in Western Equatoria. Western Equatoria, after the removal of Governor Futero, the people of Western Western Equatoria decided to go on rampage, and they ransacked the house of the governor. This, you have all seen it. There is no army there which was in uniform attacking the house of the governor, but this was the civil population. Now, there comes in a question as to why did President Salva decide to remove Government Putiu? He decided to remove him because he had been intransigent. Mabesma Kalam does not listen to the orders of the president, does not listen to the directives of the president. He acts at will. The people of Western Equatoria were fed up of him. The president requested the first vice president so many times to remove this man and bring in another person to substitute him.
Let me know what your thoughts are regarding this video. 1. Do you agree with Dr. Riek Machar for writing that letter requesting for a meeting to address the current insecurity incidences around the country, especially within the 3 states, as much as we all know that we have issues in all the 10 states and 3 administrative areas? Secondly, what is your take on Honorable Michael Makwelwet's response to that letter? Did he blow things out of proportion, or was he just doing his job as the Minister of Communication and Information Technology? And last but not least, was it wrong for Dr. Riek to send copies of the letter to other heads of states instead of just sending out the letter to the president himself and probably a few legislators within the country and not other presidents and heads of other countries?